Welcome everyone. I'll spin around here to see you all. Tonight we are recording this meeting so that students and community members, staff, and anyone else can review the meeting and see what we're talking about and learn what's happening. So if you would not like to be recorded, please say so now. And the camera's rolling. So, and then I'd like to invite Tanner up first off. Who's Tanner? And if you would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tanner, thank you very much. Well done. So I will, I call the meeting to order. I'm so excited for Tanner to pledge allegiance. I'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock. First item on the agenda board is our calendar and public records request. Any questions about that? No questions? Very good, thank you. And then we have the first reading. There was a couple questions on that I believe have been resolved. Are there any further discussion on these policies and procedures? That was fast. So those will all move forward for second final read then for the upcoming board meeting. Which moves us on to the first report of the evening, first and only, and I think the most exciting, our Boarding High School report.
Thank you, President Thibodeau, and all of our board directors. Thank you so much for joining us at Boarding High School. This is always a nervous night and hard to pull off, so I've decided to make other people do it for us, namely the kids. So this year at Boarding High School, I know we sat down with all of you and we talked about our board goals. Tonight we're probably not going into depth with a lot of the SIT plan, if you will, but I want you to see some of the action from the students. The only way we can really do that is have a lot of student voice here, to have it be organic. Our vision this year for Orting High School, really, just to put it in simple terms, is we think school needs to be more relevant for students. And we think one of the only ways that we can do that is we need to turn over the education of our kids to our kids, for them to have real ownership of it and find relevancy towards their summits. When we say summits, that's kind of what they want to do when they leave here. What's their ultimate dream? What's their ultimate goal? So tonight, we're going to do that. It's going to be organic. It's not going to be really planned. Each of our students, we've asked them to speak from their heart. They have not told me what they're going to say. We have not practiced it. So I see a lot of shaking knees out there. But I hope it comes from the heart that you see that it's really students owning their own education and what they're doing everywhere from FFA to leadership to our fitness classes to our bowling team. And then we're going to have a few success stories that are going to warm your heart. So I hope all that happens tonight. Up there you can see our vision. And we're just going to start right away. I think Mr. Slagle is going to start us off. We're going to do goal 4 a little bit out of order, starting with goal 4 just because of who the players are. So, Mr. Slagle.
Thanks for being here tonight. My name is Dave Slagle. I'm the Director of Athletics and Activities for the school district. And I also work here at the high school. So a little bit out of order because some of our students have a date with an ice cream parlor coming up. So we're trying to take care of them. One of my purposes tonight is to kind of celebrate, particularly in the post-COVID world, how we are working really hard to build opportunities for all of our kids to be engaged, connected to school, and feel part of the community. One of the tools that we use for that is every year we conduct an interest survey that's related to Title IX, but what it does is it gives us a lot of data about activities and programs that kids want to see. In addition to that, we survey the student body. So we've built things like a tabletop game club, which is a board game club. Magic the Gathering, the kids held a draft. ASB's purchased the cards to make that happen. One of the interests that came out was from some of our horse enthusiasts. So we are kicking off a Wasatch Club here on campus. So it's an interest club here on campus that competes in a variety of equestrian activities out in the community throughout Western Washington and then across the state. Esports is a thriving club. We had our first competitive season last year, and so yes, we are encouraging kids to play video games at school. So there's a variety of games that kids can select. We beat Toppenish High School. We beat Onalaska last night 3-1 in Rocket League. So it's pretty exciting. And we've made the investment in the servers that it takes for that to run for the kids. Unified Sports. Michaela, do you want to talk about this a little bit? So I know we've talked about the Unified Sports program that we've been kicking off. And last year we ran a couple of events, and they were really, there was a partnership between administration and students on making those happen. And this year, I learned today that they've been practicing for the next event, and I had no idea. So the level of leadership and agency that our kids are developing as they build this is pretty incredible as they work independently.
Hi, I'm Michaela Jeffries. So I was told a solid 5 minutes ago that I was talking about this. So I actually called up Gavin Mangold, who was one of the student leaders that actually helped put this together. And I was like, just give me 2 words, just give me 2 words. And the 2 words he used to describe how he felt about unified sports was empowering and uplifting. And I think, I'm just going to elaborate on those. I think that it's just important to understand the connection between Ms. Babcock's class and the students at our school was just so genuine. It was just so encouraging and uplifting and powerful to see how our students interacted with them. I think that it was all student-led, all student-focused, and I think it was just important to see how we can incorporate every student in our school into some amazing events. So, yeah.
Thanks, Michaela. The next kind of celebration is a new interscholastic program that we kicked off this year, our bowling team. So we had, bowling is a WIA sanctioned sport on the girls' side in the winter season. We had about 16 young women register and go through the season under the guidance of Coach Nasnik. They drive out to Daffodil Bowl every afternoon and then sit in traffic, unfortunately, on the way home. But Coach and team, if you guys wanted to come up. And he's got a big celebration out of this, so I'm not going to steal that thunder.
All right. First of all, I want to thank you, school board, for, I know you have tight budgets, and you had to take a risk on starting a new sport, and I've been coaching for 30 years, and to start a program or a sport that I don't know a lot about was a risk for me, but to watch these girls, I'm going to get emotional. The impact that bowling had in their lives is absolutely incredible. A lot of them couldn't bowl, they just started the season of Mr. Nasnik, what do I do? You grab the ball and you throw it down there. That was the first lesson. And now we have young ladies hooking the ball, curving the ball. A lot of them have their own ball, they have their own shoes. Here's another brag, 3.7 GPA in our varsity. 3.35 on our JV program. I mean, it's incredible. And so I'm so proud to be a part of this. This is the first historical team ever in Orting School District to have a bowling team. We took second in the league tournament. I don't know how they did that. And then we took 6 in districts. You needed to be top 4 to go to state. We didn't make it as a team, but however, we do have a state participant that'll be bowling tomorrow in the state tournament, Miss Gracie Stobie. It's just amazing the friendships that evolved, the commitments they've made, the time management that it takes to be a student athlete, but the impact that activities have in kids' lives. just goes on, right? Forever. And well, they can bowl for the rest of their life. There's always going to be a bowling alley in your life. My summit is to continue making memories for kids. That is my summit, to be a positive role model for kids, and so they can always have a memory of this team. I'm trying to hold my emotions back, because I told you we're a family, right? So I hand off the mic, you're going to tell me your name and your summit. Can they tell them their bowling average? Sure. You can say your high score or your bowling average really quick, or you can just pass that on.
Hey, I'm Gracie Stovey, and my summit is to one day be a forensic psychologist. And my bowling average, I think at the end of the year, was like 156.
My bowling average is not that great. My PR's a 199. I don't know how I did that, but I did. My name's Hadley. My summit is to be debt-free.
I'm Hayden, and my summit is to go to college and then be a PA, physician's assistant, in the medical field.
My name is Kyra. My summit is to be an Air Force pilot and a fashion designer, and my PR in bowling is 133.
I have no idea what my PR is. I didn't know people knew that. I know my high score, which is like, I think it's 145. Oh, that's the PR. Basically, high score is PR. I thought, okay, sorry. My name is Kaden Stephenson. The summit, to be rich.
My name is Madeline Walty. I want to be an electrician, and my PR is 182.
My name's Haven Ewell. My PR is, I think it's 156, and I think I want to go somewhere in like the military.
I'm Daniel Paz. My PR is 150, and my summit would have to be to own a bakery.
My name is Carly Nixon, and my summit is to become an orthodontist one day, and my PR is 178.
My name is Abby Allman. My PR is 169. But my summit is to, I'm already on track to play college softball, but I hope to one day be a physical therapist.
We did play a staff versus student bowling. My leg was hurt. Otherwise, I think they were fine. But I had this calf thing, and the sun was in my eyes. Otherwise, we lost to the ladies. They beat us pretty handily. So
200. We beat you by 200.
Close. So, ladies, thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
So next I'm going to talk about goal one, which is building learner agency. I know you guys have heard talk about agency for a long time, but for everyone in the room, just in real simple terms, having students not be told what it is they need to do and what it is they need to learn, but really taking hold of their own education and saying, what do I want to do, how do I want to do it, and celebrating their own growth and those own points in time where they're getting better and better because they want to, and it serves their son in the future. So that's really what we want to think about when we're talking about learner agency. Our goal right now is the panorama survey, but really the bigger goal outside of a piece of paper is to hear and see that out of students. So I hope that happens today. So next up, this might be anything you're going to hear from the high school next year. I've got an idea about learning agency in the entire high school, and I learned that from watching the fitness class, which is not typically where you think you get ideas about academic goals for your entire school. But what I watched was our students in fitness. When I walk into the PE class, you expect as a brand new principal that they're going to be like, kind of the old 1960s model where they dump the balls out and play, try to hurt each other. And so Mr. Nazik, what are you doing? He goes, don't ask me, ask the kids. So that's how I found out what the kids were doing. So we're going to do that today. We're going to ask the kids. So Mr. Nazik, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Could you bring you and your fitness students up here? And Abe?
Oh, I had no idea I was doing that. I'm just teasing.
And we're going to do a little bit of a technical switch. We use these Vivies in classrooms so the kids are better at it than we are. She's going to drop off Vivi. Abe's going to take over our projector. And I'll give it to Mr. Nazik. Mr. Nazik, if you could just give a summary of what it is students do and why you do what you do with the kids.
Yeah, no longer the PE model anymore, right? PE is kind of now turned obviously to, it's called fitness. And so in fitness, I always tell them fitness is personal. And there's no right answer, and I want you to be on a journey for personal fitness, and we're going to keep track of our own personal, our data, and they use their phones. The program's called Platform, and we start on the baseline, and as they go and they grow, as they get attacking these fitness, and then they create these goals, and as they attack this semester, and they continue throughout this plan of improving their own personal fitness. Wait till you see some of these results they have on their phones, and they can do a little bragging, but the ownership is on to them. And as they gain confidence in our classes, you'd be amazed with some of the. So I love it. Some of my students that come to my classes that don't like fitness, they leave loving fitness. And I always tell them fitness is personal, and I hope you continue fitness the rest of your life. And one of the things I say to students is fitness is a journey. You never reach the goal of fitness. You can continue on or you can continue off. So my goal in my class is I want them to be addicted to taking care of themselves. So we're having a little technical difficulties, and I'm trying to stall a little bit. I bowled today a solid 134.
So when the kids begin class, do they get to choose the activities that they're excited about, or do you provide them with, like, here's a catalog of all the different kinds of things that you can do?
This is a great question. In our weight training program, they have on their phone, there's a program of lifting and exercises, and then they're going to show you a list of assessments. After they do two lifts for me, they get to choose the rest of the period with things that they want to work on. It could be cardio skills, upper body strength, lower body strength. Our Anytime Fitness program, we get to meet with trainers, and it's pretty exciting. And I can talk about that Anytime Fitness program for a long time. You guys ready? Yeah. Is that your phone? Yep. Okay, this is my son. I hope he doesn't embarrass himself.
I'm Masnick. My summer plan is to go to Pierce Community College, and I'm going to decide from there.
Well, I'm Diego Dixon, and after high school, I'm going to go play baseball in Wenatchee Valley, study fire science, become a firefighter. So.
All right. So in our fitness program, we use this app called Platform, and we'll have our lifts for the day. So if I go to workout, I can go to the week, and we'll have the week assigned. And I can go to bench and squat, and I can see what I'm benching for that day. But I'll have my reps and weight, and I'll have my squat as well. All right. And then I will log, we'll do a PR, and I will log it, and you can see the graph goes up.
So that's his bench press. Starts at a baseline and continues. We assess about once a month. Sorry,
there are several assessments we do, and yeah, we log them new every time, and we see progress in there. I think that concludes it pretty much.
Can you show really quick what are resources? Yeah. Talk about resources really quick. Yeah, scroll down.
Yeah, there's a lot of workouts on here we can see. So if we're at home and we need to want to work out at home, there's workouts we can do at home, and we can even see leaderboards in our classes.
So that list, that's what the students get to choose their own personal journey of fitness, and they get to make their own design their own programs based on some fitness goals that they have.
I love it's in school or out of school.
Yeah, in school, out of school. So,
all right.
Anything else?
Very cool. Thanks,
Any questions? Yeah. All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Why that's important is I want you to picture that a student talking about we often have, let's say, reading. We have kids read because we know as teachers, if you read a lot, just trust me, it's good for you and good stuff will happen. The difference in walking in a room and going, what are you doing? Well, in my reading, you know, I have great comprehension scores, but I really struggle with empathy and thinking about why the author wrote this or why, what their perspective and what their purpose is. So this is the exercises that I'm doing right now. As I read, I'm doing this, this, and this. These are my scores, this is my growth. And have a kid talk about fitness or reading or math for the rest of their life and why they're doing it for themselves. Making their own goals and celebrating growth with each kid, and that they can celebrate that individually. So that idea is going to be a springboard. Coach, Mr. Nazik and his kids don't realize, but it's a springboard for me for a model what you could do in all places. What's the power in that if we have agency in every single classroom like that, where a kid stands and tells you, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and I'm doing it for me, and this is the growth that I've made. And Abe, don't 4% body fat, really? Just flash that up there.
Yeah. Saw that too.
That's mine.
Yeah, we wish, right?
All right, next up. Yes, you guys can go in here. Mr. Nazik, students, you are dismissed.
We're going to go have ice cream.
Very nice.
Use us. We're going to have 7% body fat now.
Buy an extra scoop for Abe for me.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
So what the community probably sees most is a lot of amazing things that are student-led. A lot of projects, I'm not going to mention any of them because I'm not going to take anyone's thunder, but that's been under the tutelage of our ASB leadership teacher, Mrs. Sarah Allman. I want to invite her up to talk about what's going on in agency inside of her classes. There you go.
So I'm not nearly as engaging or as endearing as Mr. Nazik, so I'm just going to do my best, because like nobody can top him, right? Like he's the best duck out there. So when I took on this role of leadership and ASB advisor a couple years ago, essentially my first step was just kind of looking at what is our game plan, what are we hoping to get out of this, and what are we hoping to create and cultivate with our students. We have a lot of creative and empathetic and passionate students, and what we need to do really is just kind of find a way to focus on that for them and let them find that love of learning. If they can find a way to really care about what they're doing now, and then they realize that along the way of them doing something that they care about, they're going to go, wow, I'm learning things, I'm gaining knowledge, and these are all things that can be applied later in life. We're creating that lifelong learning and that love of lifelong learning that we are meant to give to them. So when I was asked to talk about this, it was to focus on some of like the school improvement plan goals. And I was like, hey, we did so many of these, look at us, go team, right? And so the first thing that we considered was, if what we're doing, if the work that we're doing is for the kids, why aren't our kids deciding, right? If it goes into their hands, that means it's going to matter. It's not me saying, complete a worksheet, tell me the answer to this, write an essay. It's more about them, and it's them taking that onus of responsibility, and they get to have pride in what they're doing at that point. So we are doing direct instruction with project-based learning, so there's some of me standing up there, and they don't like that part because that's when it's just me giving that lecture, but then it gets applied into everything that they're doing. They work independently, they work in groups, it just kind of depends on what their project is. But essentially, we start with creating a foundation of equity and inclusion and understanding what that means. And so at the beginning of the semester, we break down these huge lists of every single project that they can think of that we have ever done, any event or activity that our school holds, and we categorize it into qualifying standards from AWSL saying, hey, where are we meeting, you know, this standard, this practice? And if we can't place it somewhere, it doesn't mean that it's not important or that it's obsolete, but it means what's our overall goal in what we're doing with it? Is there a way to make it so that it's more efficient, more poignant, more representative of our student body and how it's growing and changing? And so they do a really good job of first acquiring that understanding of equity and inclusion, and then we step into how are we being civic minded? How are we serving those around us and serving ourselves and our peers in a healthy a positive way. It seems like it's all a lot, but they have to cover this in our first 2.5 weeks because then we just hit the ground running. So after we do all of that, we create as a class the ASB mission statement. So it changes year to year because it needs to be, again, something that the students own. And so this year's mission statement is pretty long, but I love it. And so they have to focus on them as a group, them as a school, them as a community, and how can they contribute to each. And so their mission statement this year was, as leadership students of OHS, we believe in the right to equality, safety, and fun for everyone, and we commit to uphold the Orting High School tradition of excellence. As individuals, we will create activities that recognize students and celebrate the unique and diverse ways we thrive. As a community of students, we value respect, pride, and creativity that encourages community involvement with spirit and unity. We strive to create a safe and engaging environment that allows all individuals to feel proud to be an OHS Cardinal.
Amen.
And so everything that they create is focused on meeting that mission statement that they created, right? So again, it's placing ownership and like that feeling that it's theirs to begin with and that they need to live up to a standard that they established. So from that, we have students that have found academic success just in finding pride in being able to complete a project and have kind of done 180s in their overall outlook on school or on their own, kind of their own just self-worth. And I think that's a really important thing to go with. But the group that we have today, oh, I have one more slide, I think. Sorry, okay, there. Another boring slide. See, this is that part where it's the direct instruction before we go into the fun part. That's me, yeah. So, we'd also try to do a lot of those student-led activities. I feel like I covered this. I want you to hear them. So, joke's on you, you got in the wrong order. So, everybody's gonna introduce themselves, and the kids that are here tonight are kids that have stepped up, and they've had really good experiences, they've created projects that they're really proud of, or that I forced them. One way or the other, here they are.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ashley Van Horn. My summit for this year is to be able to graduate with the knowledge that I was able to leave a positive impact on my peers.
I'm Michaela Reinhardt, and my summit is to make the most memories out of my high school years. Leadership has given me the opportunity to gain so many important life skills. Aside from traditional leadership tasks, we take a lot of time to really understand the impact of equity and inclusion in our schools and community. We started thinking about how we could make an impact in the other schools. That is when I thought about doing an event that involves the littles at OPS.
Overall, this was a lot bigger project than we both thought it would be. It involved a multi-building project that would make us and allow us to have skills that we use later in life. I had to communicate and collaborate with individuals at both OHS and OPS over the course of several months. I had to learn how to manage and organize different information coming in at different times. Getting permission from administration from both locations took some coordination. I learned really quickly that I had to have a really clear game plan. I had to be able to answer any questions that came my way to even have the hope that this event will get approved. We had to reach out to clubs and sports months in advance to let them know about the event itself. We asked them to plan an event that the littles can play. Carnival-style games, fun things like that. I'm fortunate enough to have learned life skills I needed. Even in stressful times, I was able to maintain professional demeanor and remember I could always refer back to the lessons on organizing and managing. The Littles Fair was intended to be an event where members of OHS sports teams and clubs were represented by our school, coming together to have the kids at OPS have a fun day. While planning the process of this event, it was difficult. Structuring and delegating tasks to others was a bigger challenge. I'm grateful that I was able to learn how to motivate a team of many different personalities and interest levels. I had to learn how to redirect and refocus members as needed. I truly believe that these skills will help me in my future career plans.
As a whole group, we had to make sure everything was done in an organized manner to make sure that there was no miscommunication. Our main goal was to create an event that allowed the younger students of Orting School District the opportunity to interact in a positive way with the students from OHS. Since the high school board is the playground of OPS, these kiddos watch and attempt to interact with us every day. We had the opportunity to hold this event during their testing week, so it gave the kids a chance to run around and have fun. Even though there were many obstacles, it was worth it to have our project be a success. Leadership helped tremendously with my ability to create, plan, and complete this event, and those skills have already helped in other areas of my life. Since we had amazing feedback from this event last year, we are currently in the midst of planning this event to make it even better to be held again this year.
Hi, I'm Michaela Jeffries, and my summit is to go to college to become a biochemical engineer. But overall, I just want to be successful and do the best I can in everything I do in life, so that's kind of my big topic. I'm actually here speaking on behalf of another student that was unable to make it today, but I think that for me personally, leadership has really given me the opportunity to control how I learn by being able to open up my creativity to anything that I want and pick a project based off of it. This winter we had one student that led a project called Veterans Baskets. It was actually a vision of a freshman student. Her name was Lily Lohman, who was personally compelled to give baskets to individuals of our Orting Veterans Village. Though she, just like Ashley and Michaela said, had some very specific standards and things she had to meet, including planning, communication, organizing, and budgeting to make sure that this could actually happen. She reached out to local businesses in a very professional manner, and her efforts were worth it. I mean, there was an abundance of things that poured in from local businesses and community members, and she was able to give some amazing gifts to these veterans. Not only did this enrich her learning experience, but it also gave her a sense of agency by strengthening her project management through skills of giving back to her community. So, yeah.
Hi, my name is John Turner, and my summit goal is to one day play D1 college baseball. I was responsible for the community bingo night on January 11th. The thing that was most difficult about the project was definitely communicating with the other schools and trying to get approval to send home flyers and stuff. However, I knew that it would be best to discuss in person than over email, because that's just how I work a little bit better. Something that was an interesting challenge was having to come up with all the potential issues, problems, and before they happened or if they happened. I learned that this was important for success, to learn if anything could go wrong. I was honestly worried that only about 2 people would show up and all my work would go straight down the hole, so. But I was definitely wrong, because there were 200 plus people there. It was absolutely amazing to see all the little kids and all the parents show up. We actually ended up running out of bingo cards. We bought a pack of 2,000 plus, and we ran out. That was probably the worst thing that could happen that we never saw in the future. So it was really cool to see all the kids lining up to read off the numbers on the bingo card, on the balls, and tell the jokes that they wanted. I really liked that we made it for the little kids, so we wouldn't have a bunch of other older kids show up and ruin the event or nothing. I am being honest. It was cool to see them have the spotlight for the small second that they were up on the stage. One part of the whole project that required to do a reflection where we go through every detail of the task and evaluate the budget, how we communicated, planned, scheduled everything. We celebrated the positive things and considered how to improve for the future. For me, the main thing would definitely be buying more bingo cards.
Hi, I'm James Soto. My summit is to become an event planner. I joined leadership my freshman year and was very uncertain about it. In this class, I faced situations that required me to go beyond my comfort zone. Soon after, I realized the full responsibility and expectations of becoming successful in leadership class. It was definitely not all about making posters and picking spirit days. Over the last 2 years, I learned how to be creative with my time and ideas. Originally, my plans were to attend culinary school and become a chef. My career path has changed recently. I now want to become an event planner. I think what I want to do now is something that I will stick with. I love being a leader and being held with a lot of responsibilities.
Hi, I'm Tanner Hebel, and my summit is to become an aerospace engineer. This year, I was given the opportunity to meet the veterans at the Boarding Soldiers Home, and this experience had changed my view on life completely. I met a man named Gilbert. Gilbert was a Green Beret back in the day. I'd asked him what it took to be a Green Beret, and he responded with that it took strength here, and here, went into his head, and then his heart. He then replied, you need leaders. Love builds leaders. These 3 words had changed how I saw my future. What I think Gilbert meant by this is that when you show love to someone, when you give love to someone, it gives them a base to build off of and to create their own career and personal growth. I also think that when you give someone love, it gives them a net to fall back on if they hit a barrier or a plan fails. This has made me realize that the ongoing love shown by not only my family, but my closest friends has given me the opportunity to become a leader. And it's given me a path to follow to give others the chance to become leaders themselves.
Guys, these are just awesome human beings. They are just a small portion of an example of what we're doing in this program. I'm very proud of where we've taken this program. I'm very excited to see kind of where it goes in the future. But these are definitely some people that we can proudly say have come from Morning High School and are going to represent us in really great, strong ways. So yeah, let's just give them another round of applause.
All right, we got a surprise for you, board. You better be ready for this. All right, here's what we got. So first, let me just say this. You guys have heard from a lot of our CT kids at the previous board meeting, but one of your goals as a board is community partnerships. I mean, you look at the goals that we have inside of our community, our SIP plan, around agency and extracurricular activities, and ways for kids to get engaged beyond the classroom. And just really thinking about how we build confidence and give kids opportunities to take ownership and to make, mastery moments, if you will. FFA has done all of that in spades. And so I want to introduce a couple people to you. First of all, this is Dan Neeland, and Dan is the father of one of our students, Cooper. His daughter, Mackenzie, graduated last year. And Emily. And Emily is what grade?
She's a junior.
She's a junior. So, and then we've got right here Chrissy. Chrissy's from Godsland Farm, and Godsland Farm is just down the road on McCutcheon, just by past, you turn right and go like you're heading up to the new area called the Holly, that we've all become very familiar with. And Chrissy and I started to connect about a year ago because our FFA advisor, Mia Gum, who you're going to see here in just a second, we all kind of connected. I don't remember the exact, I reached out to you or you reached out, I think you reached out to me. She made a connection, and I just want you to hear real quick from a community partner's perspective on how vital our school district is to the mission of this community partner and why we're doing this, what you're going to see here in just a minute. You bet.
Guys, it's such a privilege for me to be here tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about where Godsland started. I was in a conference room in T-Mobile talking to one of my folks that I've been mentoring at that point for about 2 years. And as you learn people and their backstory and their history, you start to see a common pattern. That it goes all the way back to childhood where they were lacking coaching for leadership principles, where they were lacking advocacy, where they were lacking engagement or equity at the very beginning of their life. And also they were lacking at that point as adults meaning in their work, which left a gap in their heart. Made me think deeply about how do you step beyond that? How do you start at the beginning? Sustainability has also been something that's always been important to me. At that point, there was an advent where I realized I can merge the two. How do you create a leadership program that leads to kids being able to engage at the very beginning? It's something that matters, something that's bigger than them, something that's beyond what they think is in their control. How do you push the envelope there for them to realize that they, as a young person, are in control of their destiny to contribute and to give back? Every child starts as an entrepreneur. It's up to us to really lean in and invest in that. So as I explored the concept, I realized that farming, agriculture, FFA, something so wholesome, so essential to daily human life, something that connects us deeply no matter who we are in the world, is really food and hard work and those common leadership principles and having grit. How do you foster that at the beginning? And so what I decided to do is, let me build a program. Let me go engage the school districts. Everybody needs a little bit of help sometimes to step outside the box and think bigger, to be given resources maybe that they couldn't obtain at the time due to certain limitations, or just where they're at in phase. So my goal was to build an educational land share, to create a stage for agriculture education equity and to drive inclusion. You know, we talk about in corporate America diversity and inclusion a lot, but the truth is that it starts with inclusion. The diversity comes when you remove barriers for people to be able to engage. And so in this case, it's been my privilege to work with Orting School District because we have a common thread, and that's our heart. There are innovative folks who work for this district who decided to step outside of what was right in front of them and think bigger and combine a joint vision that I discovered they've also had for multiple years. So was it the universe that brought us together? Maybe. It certainly feels that way. But it's my privilege to give these kids an opportunity in this digital era, in this day of video games and phones, to go have an authentic experience and to go do real hard work. You know, our objective for this year, back to sustainability, it's not just about an FFA project or a land or an auction or a child taking ownership over their own business as a young entrepreneur. It's also about giving back to the community. These children have an opportunity to work with God's Love Farm to have these lambs donated at the end to our local food banks as a goal. And to give you an example of that, what are we talking about in magnitude? Orting has 6 lambs at the farm that represent about 50 pounds of humanely raised, highest quality lamb that's expensive and no one can afford. So now we're working on removing barriers for bringing high quality foods to families in need and bringing food equity to the table. Our other opportunity that we're working on through this construct is working on United Nations sustainability goals. So I'm going to list a few off here and I'm going to read to you what the missions of those are. What we're working on primarily is number 2, which is zero hunger. The goal, it says, end hunger, achieve food security, and improve nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goslin represents, with Orting School District partnership, a step in the direction to solve for that. In food security, serving our families through our natural systems for our food banks. The second thing we're working on jointly together is sustainability goal number 4, which is equity in education. And in this case, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Orting is innovative. Orting has stepped up to figure out how do we remove the barrier of entry for this program? How do we scale this program up? How do we make it sustainable and last so that Orting high school kids come to me later in a job interview, my team, I can ask them, what is the most proud moment in your life? What have you worked on that inspired you before? I hope it's something like this, where they as a child were given an opportunity to go do more, to step beyond their age and go give back to their community. That's what these children are working on here. I could not be prouder of them, and I'm so excited at the point in time that we're about to head to when we go to Austin for Spring Fair this year, and that lamb makes it to the food bank. I feel like we will have accomplished something incredible by then. And the truth is, we know that almost all of our communities that child hunger is a major issue in this country. And we are moving the needle, and we are working on it, and we're going to continue to pursue this objective. Thank you, guys.
They bring the lambs in because that means that we're done with our time, right? That's what. So we wanted to surprise you, board, to show you these lambs that Christy's talking about. And I need you to understand, this lady has donated her land, her money, her time to support and foster this relationship with these kids in our program. And in addition to that, we've got, real quick, Dan has, as a parent, has stepped up and gone to local businesses, Coastal and Tractor Supply. Right? Am I missing anything on that? Where's disposal? So even broadened those community engagement and partnerships, and gotten donations, already secured donations for the lambs. And if you understand how Junior Livestock works, that's a huge deal because these kids are going to be able to give back with the proceeds from these donations. And like Chrissy said, ultimately, our long-term goal is to partner to give food back to our local community. So, say that again.
2 pigs.
Oh yeah, and Dan's raising 2 pigs at his site up in Fisk Road, right?
Dan's not.
Or Cooper, sorry, thank you. Cooper and Emily are, yes. So we're going to quickly just hear from our kids real quick. They're going to tell you what their summit is, and Daniel's going to talk real quick. Ms. Scum, I'm going to hand it over to you.
What is your summit?
My summit is to be a ag and marine mechanic, and my name is Daniel Redekop.
My name is Katie Buza. My summit is to be an equine.
Production and management. My name is Lorelai Redekop, and my summit is veterinary medicine.
My name is Cooper Neiman, and my summit is to be a welder.
My name is Taylor Gates, and my summit is to go in the large animal industry.
Okay, yes, Daniel Redekop. He's one of my leaders. He's the Ording FFA chapter secretary this year, and he's also running for a district office here in the next couple months. He's on the livestock state-bound team, farm for kids state-bound team, horse evaluation state-bound team, and all kinds of good stuff. He has a little bit to talk about how FFA has impacted him.
Okay, so real quick, I just wanted to go over the FFA's mission in Ording, and that's premier leadership, personal growth, and career success. And then I want to talk about how these lambs and this SAE project have impacted me and the mission. And so for leadership, it's been a task to fill in for people that obviously, because sometimes you get sick, you can't take care of your lambs, you got to go to the farm, help people out. And to take care of an animal that's different than a dog, it's definitely a different challenge. It's not like a normal animal, you have to do other stuff that you've never done before. And then I just want to talk about how it would help people with their career success, like my sister, because obviously we have some lambs with some health issues, minor stuff that we could do around the farm to help them. And my sister learned a lot about it. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Yeah, these kids are totally amazing, life-changing for me as an ag teacher. This is like the team that has given me hope as well for like the future of ag, the future of FFA, and the future of agriculture FFA in the Ording Valley. These kids are totally leaders, and the goal of FFA is to grow leaders, communities, and strengthen agriculture, and I absolutely believe that these kids are going to be the future of that and continue to strengthen agriculture in the Valley. And as long as we have amazing parents like Mr. Dan Nealon, and all of their amazing parents as well, supporting us and supporting their kids' dreams and projects. We're going to definitely all bleed blue and gold here in the Valley.
Right on. Thank you so much, everybody. This board, you should be so proud. These guys, wow, amazing. This is our community right here. And I just want to say thank you. We give them all a big round of applause. For the board, one of them. You're all gonna come on up. They have to. This is part of the drill. So take a quick break. We're gonna shift gears here in just a minute. These lambs are already 2 weeks in.
Just pick the name before we meet.
Alina
They're gonna do
Yeah, I did. Start off with 2 Easter eggs.
Okay, I'm going to say thank you to our FFA students and our lambs. Ms. Gump, thank you so much for working with Christy to get those lambs here. We appreciate it. I did already got one of those. Yes. Thank you for cleaning up after your animals. Don't think that I'm not going to send a picture to the other principals of the animals with no text when the board meeting went through. Yes. Sarah, I believe they have 10 weeks left. Okay, we'll talk about the farm part of that. All right, next up I'd like to introduce to you our newest assistant principal, Mrs. Tia Michelle Marquez. She has been an amazing addition to our team, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about our last 2 goals.
Good evening. My name is Tia Michelle Marquez. My summit goal is to keep having fun in my career. That is my goal, because I have fun every day. So our last 2 goals, we really wanted to tie them together. One focuses on academics. We want to make sure we're improving student learner outcomes while they're here. We are specifically targeting math, but we're also looking at all subjects. We know math has been our struggle point. And our 3rd goal is multi-tiered systems of support.
And this is both academic and behavior, right? We really want to make sure we're supporting students, we're getting interventions in to address the needs that they have and make sure that they leave here after their 4 years as productive citizens of the world who can navigate the world. So to kind of start us off, I'm going to bring forward Mr. Jim Levelford. He was retired for a few years. We found ourselves in a pickle at the beginning of the school year, short a math teacher, and he graciously agreed to return to us out of retirement. He had never taught in Ording, I believe. He came from another school district where he retired, came in, entered, so he offers us a unique perspective as to what it is we're doing, and he is going to kind of share that, what we're doing and how it's helping to benefit our students.
So first off, I just want to say I can tell from just the interactions that you have with each other that you guys all really care, and it shows. And to be honest with you, when I got that phone call from Ed, and it's like, you want me to what? I've been retired for 6 years, and you want me to what? And I didn't know what to expect. But what I came to find out was that I had entered into a group of very caring, professional people that had students as their main and total focus and their best interests at heart. I have a whole speech here, but in terms of academic progress, I was going to talk about my math team at the last, but I want to tell you every single day that I interact with those people, it's all about the students. And it's about, what they're teaching that day, to the methodology, to the interventions, whether that be, so I run 2 periods. One period, this is in the afternoon, I teach 3 periods of freshman integrated 1. And then in the afternoon, in the fall, I taught 2 periods of labs, which were for those kids that were struggling in integrated 2. And I was there to assist them. And then I convinced the administration to let me teach the students that flunked integrated 1 fall semester to teach them the fall semester over again so that they could receive the credit that year. Because I did find out teaching Enumclaw that to redo that immediately versus waiting till the next fall gave them a better opportunity to be able to be successful. So, and they were all about letting me do that. So I'm going to talk about the administration later and just what a help they've been. We also run an after-school homework club that allows students every Tuesday and Thursday to come in for 2 hours to assist in all subjects, but especially in math. Because math is a subject everyone loves to hate, right? Let's face it, you walk into the supermarket, grocery store, you strike up a conversation, and you say you're a math teacher, oh my gosh. Right? It's like, but the math department is probably the closest thing I have to a professional family. And this is me teaching 25 years of Enumclaw. After 1 semester, I feel closer to that group than I did after 25 years, both personally and professionally. And if you ever let any one of those guys go, you're crazy. You're absolutely crazy. Today I ran a class for my integrated 1 doing something with slope. And it was totally put together by Megan Hannes. And she did just an outstanding job putting everything together. I walked in, grabbed it, and was able to pull it off. The kids had a great time. And they walked away saying, you know, if math class is like this all the time, I may begin to like it. You know, we collaborate, we innovate, we tell each other when we're wrong, we give each other ideas, and it's, I couldn't have asked for a better group of people to work with. So now I'm going to give my speech. I do get emotional, so beware. Coming in as an outsider, I didn't know what to expect when I took the position at Orting High School. It wasn't only out of the goodness of my heart. I looked at this year as an opportunity to increase my financial security in my retirement years. I could pay off some bills and increase my monthly cash flow. What I didn't count on, and was more than happy to find, was a group of colleagues that I could not only work well with, but that I actually looked forward to working with each and every day. And when I say colleagues, I mean more than just the math department. From Lovey, Bev, and Aaron in the main office, to Boom, to Sean and the janitorial team, to Shelley and Anna in counseling, all have been accepting of me and helping me do the best job I can do. Bambi, as my para, is almost irreplaceable in helping me to keep order in a highly active freshman environment. The two core groups that I have interacted with professionally have been the administration team and the math department. Cliff Fries, Matt Carlson, Tia Marquez have totally supported me as I became reacquainted with active teaching after 6 years hiatus. If teaching is like riding a bike, this rider has gotten older and less agile. They have gone out of their way to give me all the tools I need to be successful, and have seen to it that I am not too overwhelmed, with everything going on. I don't want to focus on age, but it is true that as we get older, patience runs thin sometimes, and frustration is easier to come by. They have done all they can to help me keep these in check, while still challenging me to step up and help the students to the best of my ability. The math department is the group I have left to last because I interact with these people on a daily basis. I can honestly, I can honestly say that I care about each and every one of these individuals, both on a personal and professional level. They care, they collaborate, they innovate, and they motivate me to try and do the best I can with whatever energy I have left. I worked for Enumclaw High for over 2 decades. I honestly feel closer and more supported by these guys after 1 semester. Today, my freshman integrated 1 class spent the period matching graphs, tables, and scenarios because of the work from Megan. We construct common assessments, and whatever we make for each other and not just for ourselves.
As a couple of you know, teaching definitely is part of the heart. Don't call me 6 years after retirement. I cannot, I mean, frankly, I talked to Ed and Aaron and Steve, folks in Enumclaw, we try not to mention Ralph, but they know Jim, and just Jim, what you've done is amazing. Just the way that math is taught 5 years ago, 10 years ago is completely different, and if Jim did not miss a stride jumping into talking about what is this conceptual understanding. In fact, Jim, I've been telling people for years this is the way we have to do it. We have to look at how is math in the real world and how does it apply to kids' life, and I can tell you how to make it relevant. So he's now in his zone in mathematics. So I thought he'd be a good voice, being an outsider, for a good, fresh perspective into our math department. So thank you, Jim, for that. I appreciate it. Lastly, we're going to end a little bit on some success and my failure. So we're going to talk about first, what happens when students struggle? So we have a 24 credit system. That means you get 24 opportunities to pass 24 credits. That's it. So there's not a lot of wiggle room for failure, but we do have a system where we can help kids if they fall a bit behind. So we're going to start out with the fearless leader of that department, Shelley Boy. She's going to talk a little bit about what credit recovery looks like in our school, and then we're going to talk about a success story and a failure story of administration.
Hello, thank you for being here, and thank you for allowing me the time to speak. And it's really hard to follow sheep. I feel very alone. I want a sheep. So I'm Shelley Boyce. I've spent most of my teaching career in the elementary setting, OPS, Ptarmigan, and I do have a certification for high school. And so when this opportunity came up, I thought it was going to be a great fit, and I was right. I am extremely passionate about what I do, and that makes talking about it better because I'm not a spotlight person. But it's easier to talk about things that I truly love, and I truly love working with credit recovery kids because they're with me. I have 4 periods a day of credit recovery, and the rest of the day is spent trying madly to fill Jennifer Planellis' shoes from last year when she retired. And so I'm doing a lot of behind-the-scenes things like administrative stuff through Ingenuity, making sure that the courses that we're loading are aligned with their grad plan and that they do meet the requirements for graduation and they're kept up to date. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff across just looking at a lot of different documents and grad plans and transcripts and making sure that we don't make mistakes because this is really important that we do it right. So more eyes, the better. So I work in collaboration a lot with the counselors, with teachers, with admin, but my summit, my passion, I'm doing right now in this job. Because the thing that I love the most about teaching is, they're with me because they're failing. They're either failing classes or they've come to us without credits because of COVID or something that they weren't attending school. So they're not just failing, they maybe haven't been there for some reason. And they're failing and I want to know why they're failing. So when I am in credit recovery, I actually get a time, instead of just teaching a content area, I'm there to talk to the kids, get to know the kids, and figure out why they're failing. And there's so many reasons why they're failing. There's so many obstacles, and we talked about that the first day of the semester. We all have obstacles. And a lot of them, they don't have a quiet place to work at home. They don't have internet. They have family stuff going on that's been really highly impacting their ability to come to school. They're not passionate. They've lost their way. They're buried. They've given up. So I talk to them and I figure out why. And that's the part of teaching I love. It's like finding those obstacles and seeing what we can do to remove those. So it might just be building up their confidence. And Edgenuity, the program we use for credit recovery, is videos, lessons, quizzes, and then tests or videos, lessons, quizzes. It's very predictable. And they pass the test, they get a sticker. And I know I'm elementary, but high school students still appreciate a good sticker and a birthday crown. They really will. I didn't get a birthday crown. Okay, I'll make one. And they wear them all day. So it's been great. So I'm loving what I'm doing. And we had, since September, we've had 80 certificates taken down to the registrar's office and put on transcripts. So we're plugging along, and they're doing great, and I'm really proud of them. And the obstacles, a lot of those kids in there have incredible talents and amazing passions, and a lot of times it doesn't have anything to do with school. And so it's really hard for them to see the value in school. And when I can't get them excited about algebra and polynomials, which I've been doing a lot of studying on because that's not what I'm learning. I did a lot of quadratics this summer too, and I'm learning, so I can tutor those kids. And I do a lot of tutoring if they need visual aids printed out, mnemonic devices, a lot of the skills that I had in elementary for individualizing instruction, saying, okay, what do you need? Well, I don't get mitosis. Okay, I'll print you out a visual. And so they can have that. Or I have never written an essay, I'm overwhelmed. And their brain is just going too fast for them to organize an essay. So I'll sit down with them and I'll say, okay, let's highlight. Okay, let's use this card and that's going to be your paragraph 1. And so they do the visuals. And it's just a different way of talking about it or a different way of seeing it has been really helpful. And very, very impactful on me because I feel like I've always loved what I've taught and what I've done, but I think I've reached my summit because I love what I do every day. And I let Chris introduce our next wonderful guest.
I'll start out just, this is going to be a success story, so bear with me, but it's going to start off with my failure. So Jesse, could you join us up here? I'd like to introduce you, Jesse James. I learned learned Jessie Jane's, bit of transparency, I learned Jessie Jane's name when she was in middle school. I heard of this girl, and I heard she was a bit of a troublemaker, quite a bit of a troublemaker. And then she left, and she never came to high school. Years went by, years. And one of my colleagues down the hall said, hey, this girl named Jessie Janes just showed up. She's like a junior, she doesn't have any credits. I was like, yeah, come on, what are we doing? And in my head, I was going down to tell this girl, here, there's all lots of options for you, okay? Because certainly there's no way this girl's going to be able to graduate. And I told her as much. So I met Jessie and I said, you understand, inside of 2 years, that's just not going to happen. She accepted that. So I won't tell you the rest, but I'm going to ask her a few questions. So Jessie, why did you come back to school?
I came back to school because I now have a 2.5-year-old daughter. She was 13 months old, or about 14 months when I first came back, and I wanted to be able to give her like a better life and like have a better education. I left when I first got pregnant because I didn't think there was a place for pregnant girls in high school.
And then, what was your experience with credit recovery?
My experience with credit recovery was amazing. I love Miss Boyce so much. It was really good. She was very encouraging, and like everything was like, at first, like when I first started, it felt like it was like a whole bunch of pressure, and it was like a lot of like, I was so far behind, but as I just like slowly went through each half credit, it just built up, and I just got more confident with myself, and like I put a lot more effort towards like just getting more credits and being able to graduate.
And what supports did you find most helpful for you?
The supports that were most helpful for me were just like Miss Boyce. She was very encouraging. She would like, and every time we like, she said like it was like how she did elementary and how she would do like reward systems and stuff, like just like small encouragements. Like if you finished like a course, like you'd get like a pair of socks or something, or like just like stuff like that. And all like Miss Planellis too. She left, but I love Miss Planellis very much. She left too, and she was very helpful and encouraging. And she'd like call me down to like her office and like tell me like, oh, like this is how far you've gone, and this is how much you have left, and this is like how long it'll probably take. And she was like really like keeping me up to date like on like what I was doing.
So what Jessie and I discussed that day, I was down to her. She started talking to me, and I'm looking back at like, my registrar who called me down. She's crying. I'm starting to cry, and I was like, what she said was me. I understand I'm not going to grade. I just want to be a high schooler for a little bit. All right, I'll let her in. I'm not going to graduate. Just can I be a kid? You betcha. Wow. I have a baby, and I just want to be a high schooler. Absolutely, knock the door down. Let's get in here. So she gets a pair of socks every time she gets credit. How many pairs of socks did you get?
Off the top of my head, I got like 20, 10, 12, how many? A lot. It was a lot.
21.
21. Oh, I had 12 pairs of socks at home.
So I'll keep this line of questioning going. Where are you currently attending school? You're a senior, right?
Yes.
Where are you currently attending school?
Pierce College in Puyallup.
What's your cumulative GPA?
Here or the high school? Or at the college? At the college, I have a 4.0. I just got on the chancellor's list this quarter. I think, so I haven't checked it. I'm pretty sure it's like a 3.7, 3.8.
3.9.
3.9! Not going to click that.
So Jess has created a problem for me. She's one of the top GPAs in her school currently. She not only in her 11th, 12th grade year, she caught up, passed, and is now working on her associate's degree at Pierce College. That is my failure as an administrator, and taught me a huge lesson just in believing in kids and listening to their stories. But if we talk about agency, this is not agency that was created inside the school. This was agency that was supported certainly by a wonderful individual, Mrs. Boyce and Mrs. Pinellas, and a system of loving teachers at our Norton High School. But she represents what we try. I want this for all students, for them to have the drive and the will and the capacity and the belief in the whole system to be a Jessie Janes. So Jessie is my picture of agency at my summit. Is I want all students to have this kind of experience. And Jessie, I know it's about the high school, but tonight it's about you, and I just want to say thank you for being a wonderful person, and you have a beautiful daughter running around there, Graceland. She made it the whole way. She got to see a lamb. So just thank you so much, Jesse, for your impact on the school, your impact on the leadership.
Thank you.
So I know that went a bit long, but is there any questions to the board for any of the leaders this time? Dave, my man.
I love that story.
Not my proudest moment, but definitely proudest too.
What do you do in your spare time? Like, there's so many amazing things happening.
But it's Matt and it's Shelby and it's Tia and it's Dave. Those just the kid stuff. Like I've never worked less. That you were at the bingo night. What Director Thibodeau didn't tell you is there were so many people here. I was in my office and I told Sarah, I hope 5 kids come for that poor kid that silly bingo night. I didn't even know it was elementary, frankly. I thought it was high school. And I'm in my office, it's like 5 o'clock, and I look out the window, and there are hundreds of people lined up outside. I was like, Sarah, what are those people doing here? So I think it's the bingo night. We were freaking out. Miss Thibodeau came. She actually gave up her bingo card because there were some mad parents who worried they couldn't win if it wasn't an accurate system. So she donated her card, her and her husband, and so that was really nice. Thank you for doing that. But yeah, we have great staff, and so that allows us to do all this. But I really do hope that we can mirror what you saw in Jesse in all of our students. So thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for coming to Oregon High School.
Thanks.
Our bowling team, Franco season play, impressive and competitive.
And the energy. It's pulsates.
And they just started, and I've been bowling for 2.5 years, and I'm not ahead of any of them.
One of your student leaders quoted somebody from I think it was the veterans. But he said that quote, love builds leaders.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
That's powerful.
I mean, I don't know how many students, I know I've been told over and over again are in this high school and in this district, but every single one of these kids are going to be.
It's hard to provide all these programs that you will support us in, and then sometimes that stresses our budget. Sometimes it makes the master schedule difficult. But I was even, because I don't know the kids' summits, I wish I knew them all, I don't. But you just saw, like, I guarantee those kids over here with the Lambs did not have agricultural summits in mind prior to this program. Like, that changed the trajectory of their life because we got Lambs in their lives and we got Miss Gum in their lives and we support agriculture. Those kids went into those career fields. You saw the kid who said he wanted to be an event planner. Those things happen because we expose kids to things they don't get inside their community. And that's worth the time and the investment to do these variety of programs that are hard, and sometimes they're not always cost effective. But we're really changing the trajectory of lives, because if kids just did what they saw in Oregon, they would all be teachers or work at Safeway. So we have to bring those opportunities in for them because they don't have the ability to see them. So that's because of the support you're helping us.
As an employer, I'm sitting here thinking, I want them on my team. They're coming with skills that I don't always see. Oh, sorry, Monty. I was just saying that as an employer and as a person who hires on a regular basis, I want these kids on my team. And so what you're doing is preparing them with experience and social skills and leadership skills, communication abilities that I don't always see in the workforce. So I'm so excited. Every time I meet more of your students, I'm like, there's another one. There's another one, and there's somebody else who's bringing something unique to the table. So thank you. I know you've heard us say thank you again, but we're just so appreciative. I'm personally just in awe of what you accomplish with these kids and what you lift them up so they can own that accomplishment themselves. And so thank you.
Personally, I can't wait for the day that it's not just Oregon High School, that we see that at Oregon Middle School, and it comes up. And that will be part of your job. So just in the future is to make that happen. And Ed too. And the cabinet.
I had the pleasure of, first of all,
teaching, Jessie, and I want to know what happens next.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got 2 degrees coming.
Yeah, what's your summit?
With my summit, as I'm getting my, I'm trying to get my ADN right now for my associate's degree in nursing, so I can, my ultimate goal is to be a nurse practitioner, but right now I'm working towards getting, right now I'm working towards getting my ADN so I can work as a registered nurse, and then I want to continue to like get my BSN and then get my like, become a nurse practitioner and just kind of like try to like move up like the nursing ranks.
Oh, I love
Surgeon
it.
General, go for it. Sky's the limit for you, kid.
I love that you have a doable plan that I understand it totally, working while you're going off. So good job, and I'm so proud of you. Jessica.
Thank you.
I have to share with you, I had a student almost exactly like you that came in with the same thing. She had a little boy and she had no credits and she wanted to get
She wanted to get a diploma because of her little boy that she just had. And right now she's an RN at Good Sam Hospital.
Of course, I look up to her now.
So it was, and she did exactly what you did. She graduated and went to school, and she has 2 kids now. And yeah, so congratulations. I'm so happy to hear that you're doing that.
Thank you.
So I had the pleasure of attending your food truck wars, another one of your classes. What a fun culminating project. I mean, they were working in groups, they had different classes working together, they devised a menu, the food was delicious. Gary, I have to share something with you. So Mr. Freeze says to your son, where'd you get that seasoning for your quesadillas? He goes, well, we looked it up in a cookbook. And I thought, yes, I cook after my own heart, because, you gotta start with the basic ingredients. Delicious food, yes, you do need some vents though. You really do.
Yes.
You really do.
Yes.
So, and Miss Gum wants some pots, or her agriculture class against pots.
Okay.
I have a quick question.
When you do the project-based learning, do they incorporate math and reading and all that, or is that just for that class, or is it like it kind of all falls together?
Yeah, so the project-based learning with what you're speaking about, CTE, Matt can talk to you about how the core subjects are incorporated in the frameworks.
Yeah, so for Sarah's class in particular, each CTE framework has math, English, so reading and writing standards, and some of our courses also have science standards embedded. And in real practical application, not every student their project will have, like, for example, a mathematical portion connected to it, but they'll do a budgeting unit in that project because when you're doing project-based management, it's part of our business program, that course is. So they have to incorporate a little bit of planning around math. It could be basic arithmetic around just planning a budget, or it could be a little more complicated if they're actually having to do some, factoring into the future in terms of predicting costs and things like that. Especially where you see that more is in like our financial math classes, consumer math, which we're teaching to right now 4 sections of juniors and seniors. We're taking consumer math 3. But in the terms of the reading and writing standards, they're all also embedded in those frameworks. And Sarah just presented to our staff on Monday at our professional development day. She did a breakout session for our staff because she's also an English teacher. And so the aha that Sarah's had, and I think she left, otherwise I'd let her speak to this, but the aha that she had is project-based learning isn't just for CTE classrooms. How do we make this live in an English classroom? How do we make this live in a math classroom or another core content, social studies, for example. And so she presented that to our staff this Monday, and our staff, you should have heard, ideas were popping. We gave them a challenge to take 1 unit this second semester and try and play a little bit with project-based learning, which is scary when you've never done it before, because you're handing over control of your classroom in some aspect to the students. And you're saying, let's play together, and let's really learn these standards together in a different way. So it takes a little bit of different kind of planning, But I think our teachers are starting to get the bug for this. So
I believe you probably get more buy-in from the students that way too, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, definitely, Mr. Beelan, we get more buy-in from the students that way, absolutely. And it goes back to that relevance, and this is going to be a preview for next year. There's not going to be anything earth-shattering next year, but again, going back to that, what does that look like for every single kid in every single class, and how do we make it so each kid has a plan in every class they walk into, where they're building an education for themselves. So look for that next year.
I wanted to share one other thing that I learned. I can't use my big I did not realize until I heard it at my house that kids that are taking like sports med, they end up being CPR certified in multiple forms of CPR.
Yes.
In the culinary arts class, they have their food handler's card. So these kids are coming.
They also receive college credit as well.
Right, but they're coming out with skills that, oh, you can go apply for a job and you can go, oh, yeah, I'm already CPR trained, you know?
Yep.
I was astonished and I thought, what a good idea.
Yes.
Not to mention that we need those skills in this one.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so along those lines, so we have exploratory or preparatory courses in CTE. Our goal is to have a certification in every preparatory course so when kids lead it, or that leads to, because some of them frankly are really difficult or it doesn't exist. So or leads to industry certification in terms of the next step. You know, so like a technical college admission after high school where they'll get the continued certification because we don't offer it or it's not available for a kid under 18, for example, or high school. But that's our goal and our dream is every kid would have some piece of paper that says, look what they can take to an employer. Look what I can do. So.
Any other questions or comments for us?
One of our favorites in the district. Yeah, I think the school meetings and to hear just the examples and the work that you're doing every day, these are always our favorite meetings. And thank you for putting the focus on kids. I love hearing from them directly. It's risky, like you said at the beginning, you never know what's going to be said, but it's that authentic experience that we're so appreciative. And we get to hear, we don't get to hear from the boardroom all the time, except when we're meetings in. So being here is important to us.
I feel like we're so lucky to hear it. I want all parents to hear it. You know, I want them to see.
Seriously, community, please watch the video.
Yeah, I want them to see what's going on.
Yes.
All right, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Before you guys leave, make sure you have our snacks. Our culinary 3 kids, Adifa was really great, our teacher. We asked her on Monday, I was like, hey, we're doing this. Do you think you could have your kids make something, you know, to kind of showcase what we're doing? So they did cookies, lemon bars, and they made a tres leches cake. The culinary 3 last week during their finals made cakes that we went around and sampled. And I think by far from all the judges, the tres leches was the favorite and the winner that was presented, and they did something unique. The teacher was sharing that they weren't happy with how it was coming out in the consistency, so they kept testing different things, and what they found was they omitted the butter, and they did whipped egg whites, and they added it in to make it lighter and softer and fluffier, so that way you could absorb the milk better. Yes. So that was just all them trial and error, like this isn't perfect, we need to make it better.
So yeah, feel free when you guys way out. Thank you so much. Appreciate
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you, Ward.
Well, the last item on our agenda is for comments. We already made a bunch of comments, but is there any new business that you want to ask about for follow-up or any other things? All good?
Big wrestling match this weekend.
Yes. Good luck to our wrestlers. Good luck to our state-bound mower. All right. And thank you, community members, very much. We appreciate the support you give our kids. All right. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting tonight at 7:30.